Oh. Great. Good day and welcome to another week of A Week at the Plot. What are we? We're sort of 10 months almost through this series of A Week at the Plot. So weekly videos of what we've done at the plot each week. So yeah, that's quite an achievement really. And I'm so pleased. I've just been trying that ground and it's soft. So the deep freeze that we have had has gone for the time being. I don't think we're forecast to have weather as cold as that to solidly freeze the ground. But the good thing about that is I'll be able to get on with that fruit bed. Now, what I have noticed putting the fork into the soil is that the soil there is pretty gravelly, which shouldn't be a surprise because the first plot that we had, which is next door to this, was also quite gravelly in its soil base. So yeah, I need to think about that and make sure that there's plenty of nutrition in there for the fruit bushes, because of course we want them to grow well. So hopefully I'll be cracking on with that. Looking at the temperatures that we've got coming, they aren't anywhere near as bad as what we've had. And I know many of you have much worse weather than we do. So we're very lucky. And the reason I'm in the shed, and the reason, in fact, I think I'll be taking this off when I do my work. It's a balmy 11 degrees here at the moment. The sun is out. The skies are sort of pale blue. And beyond you, I can see Lulu doing her rolling on the ground. Lulu's one of the horses that we have here. So, and the other lovely thing is, I think there's going to be quite a lot of chatter on the site today because I've only been here about 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe, and I've already seen quite a few people that I haven't seen for a while down here, bringing in wood, bringing in wheelbarrows. Oh, wheelbarrow. Right. I now know that I need something called bushes for the red wheel of the wheelbarrow, the non-pneumatic one, the puncture-proof one that I want to put onto our wheelbarrow. I'll keep the punctured one as a spare and I'll mend it. I can mend the puncher. It'll take me ages. I'm terrible at punchers and things like that, but I am going to keep that. But I need bushes which effectively slot into the holes on either side and narrow that hole so that the axle bolt can fit through. So it's bushes I need. Now, there's quite a complex train of people involved now. There's about 4 people involved. Of course, first it was me, then it was me and a fellow plot holder. Now it's me, a fellow plot holder, somebody from the community gardens, and somebody from another allotment site. So yeah, there's a few people involved. I'm not quite sure I've got the full train of what's happening, but you know what? It's fun, and isn't that one of the joys of allotmenteering? You know, these things happen, and hopefully there are people on site and off site and on other sites that can give you help. So I'm just down here today to do a bit of mooching, effectively check out the ground, see how the ground is, and I hope rain is going to keep off this week. I'm hoping that. It does say that there's sort of like 60-70% chance of rain and heavy rain throughout each day of this week, but it said that today as well. And even though we've had a wet morning, it's really lovely now. Actually, the sun is just going in a little bit, but it's that lovely temperature to actually do things. So yeah, I'm just going to crack on now and have a look at things that I need to do. And I'm going to go out there and see what it's like with the camera in the wind, because if it's not too bad, I'll do the February tour. I mean, let's face it, we're already halfway through February, but the weather and everything. But anyway, never mind, never mind. Right. Oh, turning compost. That's something else that I do want to do, particularly in the hot bin composter, because I haven't done that one. Right. I'll see you for more activity, I hope, tomorrow, i.e. I will be active rather than just standing and chatting. Okay. See you then. Bye. Good day. I'm not sure if you can see in the middle there. There's a little fleck of pale green and another one to the sort of southeast of it. That's a germination of corn salad. Happy days. Well, I'm really pleased about that germination in the corn salad. And hopefully the coriander and parsley and polyanthus won't be too far behind. Fingers crossed. We do have some milder weather at the moment, but the milder weather has also brought rain. So the activity I thought I was going to do today, which is getting on with the fruit bed, I'm not going to be able to do. It's sort of pretty constant drizzle. There was a gap for about half an hour and I thought I'll come down here and see if I can get on. Hopefully that gap will elongate, but it hasn't. So I'm getting on with something else. There's quite a bit of noise around the plot today. Not from the workmen on the house, that's all quite quiet, but the road is being dug up outside of our main gate. So every now and again there's that of a digger, and also they've got a what do you call it, a grabber thing, one of those small JCB things that breaks in and moves earth. They've got that there, and also somebody is having their shrubs and trees cut back in a garden just up the road from us. And at the moment, or not at the moment because I can't hear it, but just before, they were doing quite a bit of shredding of that on the road, and that is part literally maybe 80 meters from where I am at the moment. So hopefully you won't hear that, but if you do hear a shredding noise, that's exactly what it is. So today, without being able to actually get on and do anything with that fruit bed, I've been thinking about where I'm going to be planting out our crops this year, planting out the plants so that we have our harvest in the autumn. We don't do strict rotation. You will hear some people talk about doing a 4 or potentially 5 year rotation, sometimes a 3 year rotation. We don't do that here. No particular reason. I haven't found that we've got the soil where the pests and the diseases really grab hold, apart from allium leaf miner, which is why we're no longer doing leeks. So what I'm doing now is that I've marked out, can you see that? Very roughly, I've marked out the top plot and the lower plot. So this is the plot that I'm sitting on at the moment, and I'm sitting in the shed here. I've marked out the beds. I know exactly what size the beds are, and I use a software occasionally, not rigorously or religiously in fact, called Garden Planner, which is on GrowVeg. I think I paid, I can't remember, I think about £39 for 3 years of that. And I think it's really good, but I don't use it religiously. So maybe once I've done my layout for this year, I might not use it again. But I might, I don't know. Let's see. I think it's a really useful tool if you're starting off and you have the money to be able to use that type of software to help you lay out your site and get to, or plot rather, and get to grips with it. I laid out the one just here when we had that plot, which is about 4 years ago. I think we're in our 5th growing season now. I did lay out that plot on Garden Planner, and when we got the plot further down, I laid that one out on Garden Planner. What I haven't done yet is laid this one out. So I've now done this drawing, and I'm going to go back and use the software to just lay out the beds, because I find it helps in my head. I might also look at doing it on a spreadsheet, on Excel, sort of like using Excel as graph paper, if you like, because that's something that I'll be able to use indefinitely without paying for the service going forward. What Garden Planner does do, it cleverly remembers the type of, well, the plants and the vegetables that you have grown in certain areas in previous years. So it will warn you against planting the same thing in the same bed over a number of years. We don't normally worry about rotational gardening. We've never had any major issues, but I think if I was going to lay out a brand new site, so maybe at our next home, when we have something that is virgin soil and we can lay it out exactly as how we want it, I would do some regimentation of rotation, very much like Vivi does. I'm sure you watch Vivi, and if you have seen her beds, you know she's got beds that she rotates each year, which is good practice. It's good practice. It's also good to make sure you don't grow the same types of veg in the same beds year on year, simply because of diseases and viruses. So yeah, now I'm going to start thinking about what I am going to plant into each of the beds. It's sort of something that I would have thought about before, but I think my mind has really been concentrating on getting those vinyl beds sorted and the fruit beds sorted. But this is a perfect time when I can't get on with those to think about something else. And that's what I'm thinking about today. So that's it. I hope you are all well, and wherever you are, your weather is better than us. I know some of you have really, really cold weather, and it's much, much worse than ours. So I hope that it soon goes, though some of you won't be seeing the end of snow, I know, until June, potentially. Anyway, I'll leave it there, or else I'll start waffling. And I know none of you want me to waffle. Well, some of you do. I know some of you do, but not all of you. Anyway, I'm going to stop, or else I will start waffling. See you tomorrow. Will we be getting active? The weather forecast says no, but fingers crossed. Bye. Good day, though actually it's still a wet day. We're in a brief spell at the moment of dryness. There's no rain or drizzle. And in fact, just a moment ago, the sun was trying to break through. But there really is quite, it's overcast, so I don't think we're going to get a huge amount of sun. We did get really great sun yesterday afternoon, but I was on my call, so I couldn't come down and do anything. It's too wet to crack on with with the fruit bed. So what I have done today is I've been measuring out the beds to get the structure of this plot actually measured out. As you know, yesterday I did this plan, very, very rough, as you can see. This is the top area of the plot, and this here is the lower area of the plot that the shed is on, that I'm sitting on at the moment. And today what I've been doing is effectively taking measurements, and measurements that I didn't know. I know that our edge beds and our raised bed here are 1.2 meters wide by 2.4 meters, and then there's two together, so that's 4.8 meters long. But I didn't know all the other distances, so I didn't know the length of the fruit bed. I thought the length of the fruit bed was 3 meters, and it turns out it's 3.3 meters. So that means that the flower board bed is also 3.3 meters. So there's been some taking, or a lot of taking, of measurements that I didn't know about. I wanted to check what the distance is between what is going to be the new bed where the tomato vinyl bed was, and the bench and the shed, so that I can align that up correctly on the garden planner plan that I'm going to be using. Now, when I opened up Garden Planner yesterday, what I hadn't realised is I'd roughly laid out this half of the plot already in November 2019. So when I opened up the plan and I saw that there, I thought, wow, I didn't realise I'd done that. So we'll have a look at that in a following day, maybe this week, maybe next week. But what I had done, and I'd forgotten this and I hadn't made a note, is that I thought at that point we were going to have 5 of the long beds in a row here, where actually what we have is we have 4 beds in a row, and then we have the wide ground perennial bed, or what will be the wide ground perennial bed. I thought we had enough decking board to do an additional 2 of the edge beds. But when we actually moved everything up here, and when I looked at the wood that we had, I realized that I'd need to buy further decking boards to be able to do what I had planned to do. And it was at that point that I decided that the perennial bed, which is the vinyl bed right at the front, was going to be a ground bed rather than an edge bed. It was originally going to be an edge bed, the same as the others, and then it would have a flower border right along the front. We're still going to keep that flower border, hopefully, right along the front, or not keep it, but create it. But it's going to be nudging up to a ground bed rather than an edge bed, as had been in my mind. But it's really interesting, I hadn't made a note of that, and I'd completely forgotten my original plan to do 5 sets of these beds. These things happen, don't they? If you don't make notes of something, you can very often forget things. But it wasn't important anyway. What's important is what we have now and what we're going to do. It's great to know the journey that we've come on, but it's really valuable to know the journey that we still got to go. And some of that is obviously structured and planned, and some of it will be a bit of a surprise, because we always come across surprises when we do things. It's like when I knew I was ready to start on that vinyl bed a few weeks ago, and then suddenly I thought, hang on, I've got to move that jumbo bag of compost, which is why I then finished off raising the parsnip and the carrot bed just here. And then we had the cherry tree there. Hang on, I've got to take that cherry out. because that cherry tree is not going to stay there, and it was the right time to take it out a few weeks ago. So there we are. That's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow for something. Whether we'll be at my desk or whether we'll be here, I don't know. The weather is changing. It still says it's going to be pretty wet tomorrow. Hopefully it's going to get drier by the weekend. And I did see that somebody said it was going to be 15 degrees at the weekend. If it is 15 degrees and we don't have rain, then fingers crossed, that fruit bed. See you again tomorrow. Bye. Good day. Though again, another rather wet day. It's raining at the moment, and it says it's going to rain for at least the next 4 hours, possibly even longer, and then clear up later on. So that is a bit of a shame, because I won't be able to crack on with a number of the jobs that I want to crack on with. But hey ho, there we are. One exciting thing though, down here, let me zoom in. Can you see that? Let's go in closer. Now let me bring that forward. Look, an aubergine seedling. Yay! So that's our first aubergine seedling. Gosh, I can't remember how old this seed was either. I mean, I think we said it was 8 or even longer, 8 or 10 years old. I'll have to look it up and put it in the detail when I upload to YouTube. But that is going to have to do for my little bit of joy for today. Our first aubergine seedling. Bye. Good day. You're looking at a rather fabulous ceanothus, which is also called California lilac, which will be resplendent in about a month's time with beautiful blue flowers. Though it's a shrub, we would commonly call this a bush in the UK as well. Another bush, this time it's a hebe, which is near the apple tree, which again will be resplendent in flowers later in the year. And again, a bush. Another type of bush on the plot, in the case of these two and the cuttings in the little pot on the right, these are gooseberry bushes and are resplendent in their winter garb. And then let's have a look at a final type of bush. Another type of bush on the plot, quite different to the others. So this is a pair of bushes, and what are we going to use these for? It's a smiley face because it's to mend our wheelbarrow. If you saw last week's A Week at the Plot, you'll know we had an issue with a puncher on our wheelbarrow. And I had this puncture-proof tyre available. The problem was this, which is the axle, is too big for that hole. But the bush, or the bushes that I bought, fit in this hole, reducing the size, the diameter of the axle, so that this can fit through it. I'm really pleased about that. Where's the bush? So that goes in there. Now, to drop it, to put one on that side as well. And you can see now that the bolt, the axle bolt, will go through that hole. Happy days. Oh no. Oh, that's not going to work. Oh. So, back at square one. I hadn't realised that this old tyre has got these bits, can you see? Either side, which effectively reduces the space between the bits that come out that the axle bolt goes through to secure it in place. And without that extra width, the tyre moves from side to side. What another person has said is what they're going to do is just cut some plastic tubing, and they'll do it so that it basically reduces that width. The thing is, the wheel, the center of the wheel, what am I trying to say? The wheel will go round and it won't move. It will just slide from side to side. So if we can put some piping on either side of the actual wheel that goes between the wheel and the bit that the axle sits in that's attached to the wheelbarrow, it'll stop the wheel moving from side to side. I mean, who knew that changing a wheelbarrow tyre would be so difficult? I will try and mend the puncture in this one, though this is a whole tyre. There's no inner tube in here. When I look at the doodah, the air thing here, it's actually attached to this tyre. It doesn't go into an inner tube. I mean, who knew wheelbarrow tyres would be so specific? I certainly didn't. I mean, obviously you have different types of wheelbarrow, different trolleys as well that have similar tyres. But really, I mean, I tell you what, if I ever buy a wheelbarrow again, I will be looking at the makeup and the tyre on that wheelbarrow a lot more carefully than I did buying this wheelbarrow. I just bought this wheelbarrow. I thought, oh, that's a good size. That looks pretty sturdy. It never dawned on me to check that if the tyre punctured or, you know, if something went wrong with the wheelbarrow, how can I easily mend it? And I've been in touch with the wheelbarrow people as well, and you know, a new tyre is like 30 quid. I don't know these things, but at least my friend has come up with a temporary solution. In fact, those bushes are really pretty tough. They're like hardened plastic. So I think if we have something that does fit in between to stop the wheel going from side to side within the axle bracket, we'll be fine. It'll do for now anyway. And yeah, this wheel was going to fit on somebody else's wheelbarrow. It doesn't fit on that one. So anyway, thank you very much to a friend from another site who pointed me to those bushes, and at least we're getting the job done bit by bit. See you again soon. Bye. Good day. It's still a breezy day, but it's not wet. So that's something. And I think I am going to be able to resolve the wheelbarrow wheel issue today. First of all, thanks very much to Martin, who was going to make something for us, suggested he could make something for us. Really appreciated that, Martin. Thanks very much. And to Jim of the Lake Effect Gardener, thanks very much for your thoughts. So the issue, you may, well, if you've seen yesterday's, you'll know the issue is that by the time this is on the wheel and spinning, there's that gap which needs to be reduced. On the old wheel, it came out, so that's how it was reduced. What Jim suggested was getting some spare nuts like this and putting a number together, and that would reduce the gap, which is a really good idea. I had a look in our odds and ends ironmongery tins today and couldn't find anything suitable. So what I've decided to do is go back to the thought that I had yesterday as I was going home, which is to use piping. So we have this spare pipe, and this is actually, from here to here, is actually the amount that we need to reduce that bit by to stop the wheel going from side to side. And you can see in the middle here, I've put a marker because obviously I want to cut this bit into two and have one bit on either side of the axle bolt, if you see what I mean. So that's what I'm going to get on and do now. I've also got some washers which can sit in between the cut end and the bush here. So hopefully it won't damage that. You know what? I think that will be a good solution for the time being. If we can find any more nuts, I will see if they fit this bolt, because I think that's a really good idea from Jim. And interestingly, when I was coming to my plot today, I passed another neighbouring plot holder and was talking to her, and she had exactly the same issue when she had to change her wheelbarrow tyre. So just to clarify, I'm changing the wheelbarrow tyre from one that is pneumatic, that you inflate, that has been punctured, to one that is a solid puncture-proof tyre, which I think will do me well for many years to come without having any punctures, of course. So now I'm going to get on and cut this down carefully. So look at that. I'm as chuffed can be. So I cut this bit of white plastic, and then I put a washer against or between the bush and the bit of white plastic, because I'm not worried about it rubbing this end. And I've done the same this side. And the wheel, yay! I'm so chuffed with that. I just feel that is such an achievement. I know to many of you that just seems ridiculously tiny achievement, but to me it's major. It really is. So yeah, there we are. Yeah, I'm really chuffed with myself. I mean, just ridiculously chuffed with myself. It's I know I've had help, and thank you again to Martin and to Jim for their suggestions, which are really good suggestions. And if I had the extra nuts, or Martin was a bit closer, maybe we could have sorted something out. But just using that piping, I now have a working wheelbarrow again. And you know, the wonderful thing for me is these things don't come easily to me. This type of engineering is not something that I take easily. Maths and lots of other things I take easily, but engineering and thinking, I mean, I can work through problems. I work through problems. They're usually not mechanical problems like we've had with this wheel. But you know what? That pipe works. I thought to put the washers between the pipe and the bush so that the pipe and the bush don't wear each other out. So yeah, I'm chuffed. I'm chuffed. Something else I'm chuffed about. Let me show you. We have germination in our wild garlic. You see just there, and here there's one at the back here and over here. So that's wild garlic. When did we put that in? I guess about October, and it's coming through. These are also called ransoms, and I'm just really chuffed about that. I did actually have something that looked like a leek coming up, and I left it in there for maybe 6 weeks, 2 months even. But now that I've seen these, I realise that whatever that was, it was a weed. So I've taken it out. So what a great day. Wheelbarrow sorted and wild garlic up. Fabulous. Right, I'll leave it there for today. See you again tomorrow. Bye. Good day. Well, maybe this is going to be an achieving week for a week at the plot, because today the weather is not forecast to have any significant rain. Did I just feel a drop on my nose? I think I did. And it's largely supposed to be around sort of 12 to 15 degrees without rain and with sun potentially. The sun is up there and it's trying to come through, but it's not coming through at the moment. But what I am going to be cracking on with today is finally, I'm going to start cracking on with the fruit bed behind me. As you know, I've been wanting to do this for quite some time, and today's the day. Let me just show you a before shot, and then I'll show you an after shot after, because this is going to be part of the new plot series of videos. Well, not this one, but doing this is going to be part of the new plot series of videos. Let me show you what I'm going to do. This is the picture of the before shot. So as you may remember, everything has been grown in tubs up to this point because we weren't able to get into this area to sort it out last year. And it does need a good forking over. You can see maybe just in here there's sort of brambles and quite a lot of couch grass in there. It was covered in cardboard for much of the year, though of course you can see it's now deteriorated. So fingers crossed, in a minute, well not a minute, it'll be a good few hours, I'll be able to record the after shot. No, I haven't quite finished yet, as you can see, but I have had a rethink. What I've decided is the raspberries and other cane soft fruit can go elsewhere, and I'm just going to have the gooseberries, the blackcurrant, and then because we've got various cuttings of thornless blackberry, I'm going to twin this thornless blackberry that's already in the ground that will grow up here. I'm going to put one of our cuttings in here and grow the thornless blackberry up here. Then at this front edge, inside this front edge, I'm going to move our strawberries that are on the strawberry plant at the moment inside this edge. This is what happens, you know, you're set on knowing what you're going to do, and then you start doing something and you realize that actually you're going to change your plans. But you know what? That's absolutely fine. So I'm going to leave it there for this last segment of this week's A Week at the Plot. You'll be able to see all the work that I did put into this bed in the 12th episode of Starting a New Plot, which will be up, I think, later this week. And I will see you again next week for further work on A Week at the Plot. See you then. Bye.